Okay. Folks, we're in the discipline ride with Prieto. And you saw before that I explained to you that I'm going to transition him into a Western bit. And what I need to get on him is a level of collection and then self-carriage. And the actual Western bit looks like it's going to be a Santa Barbara cheek half-breed. That's what we're headed for. And this particular horse, I told you he was teachable, and what it means is that I've been working on this when I go out and make a circle, a little bit at a time, and then on the way home, I've been working on getting a nice big long flat walk, which is what he's figuring out. So this is you can call it the good, the bad, and the ugly, but what it is the precursor to getting done what I want to get done. And this is the perfect horse for it. So I'm just going to start working my horse, and you want to watch here, and the pole. And on this particular horse, what's happened is it's coming from the feet out. A lot of horses, it comes from the hands through the skull and the withers and out the bottom of the feet. Well, he's figured out how to walk backwards and pick up his feet. He's fine with just walking backwards. So that's a natural thing. Natural meaning he can walk backwards unstressed, untroubled. It's from the withers out that the human put in him is what I've got to take out and reteach him. And that's not a problem, because it's going to happen. So I'll just work him and show you what I mean. And whenever I say the word there, it means he's where I want him. My right leg is back. I'm working my legs. They're off the horse, but then when I need them, I'm straightening him out. I'm lowering my hands. Release. There. And when you're doing this exercise on an older horse like this one, he's 6, you can do it for half an hour. Them old cold-jawed warm bloods, I've done it for an hour with them. Just walking up and walking back, walking up and walking back, just to let them know that they can not have to worry about defending their mouth. So I'm also at the point, because I've been doing it outside, as I'm working on, when I'm going forward, I also am working on collection. My legs are off, and then when he starts to sway, I'll just put a leg on him. So the 3 positions, here's the withers. I'm raising his head, even though I'm not pulling on the reins. Then he's sorting it out with his nose. And it goes in and out. He gets behind the bit, just raise your hands. And it's a multitasking thing for him. For me, it's a few moves that I have to be consistent with, and he'll make it just fine. And I think if you can appreciate the slack in the rein, he's working it out himself. I'm just trying to be as consistent as I possibly can. This is known as a disciplined ride. This isn't how you ride every day. This is a disciplined schooling ride that we're doing. Right leg back. You got to decide, is the front end weaving or the back end? So you straighten it out. If it's the back end, you just move your leg back. If it's the front end, you just put your leg on where it's hanging. You don't go to the shoulder to straighten a horse out. You just put your leg on them, they'll straighten out. Now to mix it up, after a while, they think you're going to go all the way the 100 feet. Just go 20 feet. Start walking backwards. Hind leg moved over. Forward. I didn't set the reins down that time. The big picture is the same, but the small things is what you keep changing up. Your posture is important to get your seat bones as high as you possibly can. Leg back. Right leg back. straight, right leg back, straight, pressure, pressure, release. Now as I set my reins down, I just let everything out of my body. Here's the gymnastics I was telling you about. They get to stretch their muscles in their neck. If you get them burning, then they're going to get resentful, and you'll see it because they'll start throwing their head. And this takes a long time. Well, I haven't met anybody that important that owns a horse that they couldn't take the time. If you ask a horse, you're just not all that special. Now remember, there's a difference between liberty and the bridleless, bitless, whatever you want to call it, and a disciplined ride. For me, I need this horse in self-carriage, so I have to keep putting him there and then giving him back the reins so that he'll carry himself. He's had probably a minimum of 4 years of running with his nose out. This time I'll just let him walk. Now I'll say excuse me halfway down, pick him up, and then sit down. Now he knows to walk backwards. And what I'm letting him do is find that spot where the bit hangs really nice. There, he found it himself. Now, most everybody that watches this is 50 or over. So you're crippled, you can't hear. There's a whole list. We won't go into the real private stuff. Doesn't matter. But the point is, I'm deaf in the post in one ear, and I can hear that bit when it's hanging straight down because there's almost a hollow sound. And there's that one point where it's hanging where I want it to be, and I can hear the difference in the bit and the cricket. Well, I've been riding this kind of bit for quite a while, so anyway, sharpen up and try to see if you can pick up on that. Please note that the horse is, whether it intentionally or not, it's searching for a good place for this bit to hang. And I say or not, meaning he's kind of playing with the cricket, but I don't care. He's going to figure out in time that there's a really good place for that bridle to be hanging in his skull. And that's kind of where I'm headed here. So later on, when I pick up the reins, he's going to put himself in self-carriage and then ask me what it is I want to do. Now, one of the mistakes of riding two-handed, I'll show you right now, and that's this. This is not how you ride two-handed. If you do, when you move your right hand, your left hand's going to go with it. You want the bubble between your hands to be plenty big to where your hands can be independent. That's a mistake I see a lot of. So I'll drop my seat bones and exhale when I'm ready to stop, and then ask him to walk backwards by taking my legs off, leaning back, putting a dish in my spine, and looking up. You don't need to stare at their head. You got to just believe me on that one. And what you'll learn is how to feel when the horse is in the correct position. You can feel it through your hands. That's why this is called a disciplined ride. Now, in my heart, I know I've gained a little bit, so what I'm going to show you is another part of the exercise that you can add whenever you feel like it. It's your call. And that's a serpentine walking backwards. And now I'm intentionally going to move his hindquarter over. Plus, oh, by the way, I have to bridle up. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit more to it for him to think about. And it proves to me that he's in fact listening to my body instead of just my hands. Now that's all hindquarter. Another part of the exercise is the forehand. So I'll walk forward and ask for some kind of a collection on loose rein. I'll stop my horse, and now I'm going to move the forehand over. So now I'll start walking backwards. I'll open my right shoulder and bring the front end across. Open my left shoulder and bring the front end across. Hindquarter, forehand. So down the road, as he gets lighter, I'll be moving the hind end 3/4 the way around, then bringing the front end across. It's like doing rear end, front end, walking forwards, but I'm going to be doing it going backwards. So I think you can see how this is starting to evolve. And what I want to share with you today, because I think it's important, is that once again, take your time. Allow the horse to figure it out. We've all seen people bang on a horse's mouth until they give. We've all seen people saw on a horse's mouth until they give. So my thought is that what are you actually physically doing? You're getting a short-term release there, but what have you actually done to the mouth? Have you made it better or worse? Well, I'll let you sort that out. That's why I don't believe in sawing on their mouth or banging on them. And remember that a broken mouthpiece is going to cause some sort of pain, especially if it's a double twisted wire. And if it's a solid piece, it's pressure and then release. And the difference is that you have to be committed to take the time to do this correctly to be able to use a bit like this. The short-term thing, if you'll notice, typically doesn't work out real well. So, thank you.
I know we've attracted a certain following of, we'll call them older cowboys, older fellas. And we've had some questions about how to actually subscribe and how to actually like. So, if you don't have a grandchild or a wife who is technologically savvy, when you're watching your video on your computer screen, there's a little red button. It's not really a button, it's just words. They're red letters that say subscribe. If you take your little cursor and click on that, you'll be subscribed. Now, if you go across on that same level, you'll see little thumbs up and little thumbs down. Hit the thumbs up. Then you've liked it, and that helps us out. If you hit the thumbs down, that's no good. We've had people hit the thumbs down on a knot. We're still trying to figure that out. In any case, thank you very much for following our channel. We appreciate your support. All right. That's it. Cut.